Hello students, I want to show you how to use an MLA template. Different disciplines in the academic world use different kinds of formatting for specific reasons that have to do with the dissemination of information. So in English composition we use the Modern Language Association method of formatting, and the reason that the academic documents have certain forms is because certain kinds of information is required by the professor and by the institution. So here today we're going to learn how to do MLA formatting of your college writing documents. And the first thing you need to know is that I've made it easy for you by going into course content in Blackboard and hitting MLA template and clicking on MLA template again. This document here will pop up, and what you will see are areas in which to click. All the formatting has been done for you. This is really a no-brainer. All you have to do is fill in. So in the top you would double click until it turns blue and type in your last name. The page number and space are already there for you, and each time you scroll to a new page, the page number will automatically change. So if you start writing on page 2, the header will say page 2. This is called the header, last name and page number. Then you want to double click in this area until it turns blue, and this is called the heading. There are 4 lines of information in the heading, and each line is absolutely required so that we have the information we need as we read your document. So first of all, we would want to write in our own last name, first and last names, and that tells us who the writer of the document is. Then we would click here and make sure that we have the full course alphanumeric. For example, this is English, that's the alpha, and 101 is the numeric, but you also have to have the course section. All right, now this class is my online English 101, but my on-campus class, you have a different course alphanumeric, and you must have the entire thing written there so I know where to put the grades. That information is vital. The third line in your heading is who is your instructor. So when you go to turn in a paper and you forget what your instructor's name is, and the secretary up there wants to put the paper in the mailbox and she'll say, who's your professor, and you're drawing a blank, all you have to do is look on the heading in your document and you would see that this will go to Professor Van Eps's mailbox. And then here where we do the date order is different. In this date line you're going to see that you're going to have the day first, then the month spelled out completely, and then the year. And look how nice and clean that is. There's absolutely no punctuation, and it's very clear what the date is. The next step is the title. The title always gets centered, and for all intents and purposes I'm going to write in writing sample because that's the first document you'll be writing. But when you go to write, I'm sure that you want to have a much more catchy title that would tell your audience something about the document that is to come. Here are some instructions on how you begin your document. You align left and indent 5 spaces from the left, or just press 1 tab, which I'll do now, boom, and then you start typing the introduction to your document. And you can delete the instructions then because you won't need them anymore. Voila! Now your document is ready to go. And you will find that in Microsoft Word, when you go to the second line in your document, it'll automatically align left. You won't need a tab or anything. All right, now another thing is that some students will like to add extra spaces. I don't know why, but it's important that you know in MLA documentation, only 2 spaces between each line. Every single thing in your document, including your works cited page, which we'll talk about later, is double spaced, not quadruple spaced, double spaced. Another thing I want to talk to you is about font. Microsoft Word deletes to Calibri 11. I will accept Calibri 12. Size font in MLA is 12. All right. And my favorite font, for those of you who like to please the professor who reads 1,000 documents a semester, is Century Gothic font size 12. And the reason it's my favorite is because it's so easy to read. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? See how easy that is to read? Some of the problems with the default font, which is often Times New Roman for some of your word processing programs, is that Times New Roman is a font that uses serifs, and this is Times New Roman size 12. Notice that it looks a little blurry. When Times New Roman is sent electronically into a digital document, and I read the digital documents and turn it in, it gets blurry. So even though MLA often requires Times New Roman, Professor Van Apps requires Century Gothic, or Calibri if you like. Alright, if you have any questions, it would be very, very good for you to email me so that I can clarify any points. Good luck with writing your academic documents properly formatted with all the information we as your readers need. Thank you, students.